Hi everyone, this is Trish Kane, CEO and founder of Healerverse. Sometimes on Fridays we do a 10:30 round table and we feature one of the amazing practitioners. Um, this Friday, 1/2, which is January 2nd, we have a most amazing practitioner named Manny, and it's been amazing to watch his journey going to India and where he came from and where he's been and where he's going and wait to see what he has coming out, guys. I'm supporting him on this with his own technology and stuff. And what we love about Manny too is that he's bilingual. So Manny speaks English and Spanish. So if you're looking for a practitioner on Healerverse that speaks Spanish, Manny is your guy. And without further ado, come visit us on 5dhealerverse.com, DM one of the practitioners, and I give you Manny.
Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you are. Thank you for this honor to be here on One, Two. Thank you, Trish.
Welcome. So, one of the things I kind of wanted to tap in today, because I feel like this is what's most relatable if you feel comfortable, which you don't look like you do. What's she gonna ask me? You know, it's always stuff that I feel like people probably want to talk about, but what I love is that you also bridge the gap between clinical, which is like research, very important too, right? And like you have a lot of life experience. Manny, you've helped so many people for like decades. You know what I mean? And like maybe if you feel called just to tell us a little bit about your story and experience, whatever you feel called to share.
I would love to. Before I go there, Trish, is it okay if I begin with open space with a prayer?
Yes, absolutely.
So I once mentioned to you the prayer of Abum de Maya, which means our Father. So the language of Jesus, the real name was Yeshua, and in his original language, Abum de Maya is the Our Father, which I don't have it memorized, but I love to read the script. Y'all ready? So this is the original Our Father in the original language, and it's this. Of course, I'm not good at the translation, the Aramaic side, so I'll just say it in English. Here's the translation. O thou from whom the breath of life comes, who fills all realms of sound, light, and vibration, may your light be experienced in my utmost holiest. Your heavenly domain approaches. Let your will come true in the universe, just as on earth. Give us wisdom for our daily need. Detach the fetters of faults that bind us, like we let go the guilt of others. Let us not be lost in superficial things, but let us be freed from that what keeps us from our true purpose. From you comes the all-working will, the lively strength to act, the song that beautifies all and renews itself from age to age, sealed in trust, faith, and truth. Amen.
Thank you so much. That's honestly the 2026 vibe right there.
We're aligning with that Christ consciousness, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how about if I jump into that question you asked
Sure.
originally? All
Let's
right,
roll.
let's roll. So, before I was a clinician, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico and raised in a predominantly Catholic family. I lived across the street from the church. So I had that whole mea culpa, mea culpa very well ingrained in my environment and perhaps in my DNA. And um, and I went through a massive shift in perception. Probably when I was like 7, I really had a lot of there's a very clear distinction, and I knew this maybe I was 6 or 7. The very clear distinction between I believe and I know, right? And so when we were citing the creed in the church, it starts with we believe. And okay, we believe. But this was like really in my DNA. I knew that I had something very powerful that I could not put into words. I had a very powerful mission. I had a very powerful destiny paved ahead of me, but I didn't see like the next road signs. And so one of my probably my first existential crisis that I had was at that age, because I was like, who do I ask? Uh, and I just didn't get a clear answer. Like, I knew that the answer was not outside of me based on the reference points that I had. Let's just say that. And so I think that was also the start of my ego. I started creating a false self. And fear is when I could first recall fear creeping in. So I begged my mom to get us out of Puerto Rico. I did a very great theatric Oscar-winning performance. And she said, I love the way she's here right now. Hi, Mom. She said, we're going to work on that. I love the way she negotiated the facts. We're going to work on that. I believe you, and let's get out of here. This is 1978. She goes, you have to get your grades up, though, and you have to get an A in English. The day you get B average and an A in English, I'll have my ducks in a row and we'll get us out of here. And just like clockwork, man, uh this is my grandfather's watch. Just like clockwork, like by the year that I was up, we were in Pennsylvania. So I was in the Catholic school system in Pennsylvania, went through school at Penn State, and a bachelor's in science and landscape architecture because I felt that my mission, I was passionate about saving the earth. So it was myself through the company that I created called Land Art. Took me years going up the chain of evolution and experience. And then until like, and I was really blessed with a lot of prosperity. Like the numbers were like through the roof. In fact, I wasn't ready to succeed so rapidly. And so that alter ego started kicking in and false personas, etc., and saying yes to every contract because suddenly money was more important than the original mission. And so on the third, yeah, like I had a nervous breakdown, uh, April 4th, 1995, and I like totally surrendered my keys to the police. This is like in Newark, like I was picking up my girlfriend at the airport, and I just like surrendered and was in the hospital for like, I don't know, 48, 72 hours. My mission there was to convince these doctors that I'm not suicidal. And at the same time, I found my ministry and my vocation, which is to listen to people that were suffering and to help them understand that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And if they agreed with prayer, I prayed with them, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really where I found my vocation when I was wearing, a wristband as a patient. And so, but when I got out, or my girlfriend rescued me out of there, I had trouble with the meds and that whole clinical, side of the story. But I realized that all of a sudden, planting 1,000 more trees and fixing people's irrigation systems wasn't so important anymore. I really realized something that I had taken for granted, which was my own mental health and well-being. And at 28, I was like, wow, I totally missed that. We could have a collapse. Our whole reality could just break down in front of us. And in my case, it was all because I was treating myself like a machine. I was hardly sleeping. I was junk fooding and really abusing not knowingly, right? I was just pushing myself like a machine and thinking mind over matter, mind over matter, mind over matter. And you just can't fool Mother Nature. You can't trick uh, your DNA and the organism, the biology. So after 30, 60, 90 days of that, I had a collapse. It was an exhaustion as well as it was a mental breakdown, but also a very spiritual one. There was a lot of spiritual themes, which we can get into that later on. But anyway, so I went back to school. I was like, I got to start over again. I hit the reset with my career. I got a master's in clinical social work, graduated in 2002. And so I began working in addictions in 99 until I got my license. So this is all happening in Pennsylvania. I work with in the private and public sector with addictions. And shout out to John. That's how we know we're almost like neighbors near Berks County, Pennsylvania. And yeah, and so after the Pennsylvania counseling services work, I went to Puerto Rico for Christmas, and I was in the midst of a transformational workshop, and I had a very cathartic experience. Um, Everybody had their eyes closed and everybody's doing their inner work, kind of like shadow work on steroids collectively. And I got this very clear, like, you have to come back. And this is all happening in Puerto Rico, right? You have to come back to your island. You have unfinished business here. It was very clear, like, you left here in fear. You must come back and fix this. And so I came back. I had to convince my wife. Thank God we had sold the house, so we just had money in the bank, and it was easy to make that pivot. And I started what's called in 2006 Elevate Coaching, and the timing was catastrophic because Puerto Rico's collapsing. Um, from economic corruption, right? So the government ran out of money 2 weeks, so they did a government shutdown, as you know what that can be like. But in Puerto Rico, everybody just hits the streets, and the DJs in the radio were going, Puerto Rico grita, Puerto Rico screams. So everybody got this in this collective euphoria, like this revolutionary hype. So it kind of was like a million man march, everybody screaming because of job loss, money loss. And here I am in Puerto Rico without a business network, without a business plan, just passion on fire. And what am I going to do? You can't talk people life coaching when they're screaming in the streets. It's kind of like going to the ER during the pandemic and trying to sell vitamin C, right? There's just no audience. So I started writing. I set a goal. I'm going to write 2 pages every day for 90 days. And this baby that I have here was born in 2006. Transforma tu vida con estrategia y pasión, which means transform your life with strategies and passion. And like the symbolism shows, balancing head and heart so that word and deed comes out as pure as possible. And then because I had some clients that spoke English and on the island, they're like, you have to do this in English. So I did elevate your life. So the cool thing about this is that I use a lot of environmental the story. What is the story of Puerto Rico, right? Which was that whole financial crisis. So I use that I wove that into the story about how when you are in panic mode in fight or flight, it's not the best space to be in to create what you really, really love, what you really, really want. So it was about change management. Chapter one is change management. Chapter two is about developing a strategy that balances head and heart. And then once you're practicing it, then you can live it with passion. The thing was, when I translate that book to English, I can't be talking about, I mean, I could talk about the Puerto Rico financial crisis, but people here won't relate. So I had to basically imagine this. You have a whole chicken and you have to debone it and then you have to put it together again. That's what it was like to reconstruct that book with the story of the US at the time, which was September 11 and the Twin Towers and how the Patriot Act and all these things changed. Traveling will never be the same. This world will never be the same. And so that was it. I had 2 books, 2 languages, and 2 stories of like the hero's journey to relate to. And now we don't have to have 2 stories. We have one, the pandemic. Everyone experienced lockdown to some degree. Everyone can relate to what it's like to be thrust into change, thrust it into things that you have to accept, whether you like it or not, or it could cost you your life, or it could cost you your job. So I'm in the process of now uh, disassembling these 2 chickens and making it into one with one cohesive backstory, which is how we live through the pandemic. Because there's no way that we cannot guarantee that this won't happen again, right? So if it ever hits the fan on a macro level or on a personal level, now we all have something that we can relate to and say, yeah, that was pretty devastated, man. That was pretty traumatic, and I was not ready for that. Um, I don't think anybody honestly was ready for that unless they were behind the planning of that. Thank you.
Thank you. So now you're in Florida,
Yeah.
you're in Orlando, right? And
Southeast of Orlando, is a little town called Harmony.
how
So
perfect is that?
35 minutes that way is Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. Yep.
Amazing. So you're southeast of Orlando.
Hmm.
And how long have you been there for?
In February it'll be 15 years we've been living
Wow,
in
that's
Harmony.
amazing. Cool.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
got here as a transfer, just like my mom got transferred from Puerto Rico to Pennsylvania. I got transferred from the VA San Juan Medical Center I was working as a clinical social worker in mental health, and I got a transfer to the Lake Nona or the Orlando Medical Center, which is like the state of the art
Wow.
um, hospital. And so all in all, it was 15 years that I gave to that system. And I say that tactfully because I learned a lot. I had so much knowledge and so much professional support. But I really, in the end, in hindsight, and I'm at peace with it, but I gave 15 years of my life to a system. And I'm clear that I helped a lot of people. There's no doubt. But I'm also clear that I was trying to heal. I was trying to be an instrument of healing where that was not something that was embraced. So I had to get out. I had to be honest with myself and in integrity with my soul's mission.
Yeah, there's definitely some people that I would love to put you in touch with that are like partners of Healerverse that are basically helping veterans and stuff. And I know you're doing a lot of beautiful work right now. Um and yeah, I mean, like thank God for the veterans, like and in our country, like they are amazing. Um I'm grateful for everything that they've done for us and continue to do for us. And they see a lot, and for you to be there for them is huge, Manny. That's huge. And the people that you're helping right now too in recovery, that's huge, Manny. That is
Hmm.
huge. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
the country that we have today is safe because of you. You know what I mean? And you giving caring and love to them and support and everything. And what you continue to do, just really, really like what a blessing to have you in this world. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, I'm not a veteran. I'm a civilian, but for those 15 years, I was honored to serve each and every one of those veterans that I served. And the way they said it, think about this. When you imagine you were being 18 and you're sure you don't want to go to college, you don't know what to do, you sign this
What?
dotted line and you're basically signing um what did they say? I'm basically giving a blank check to the United States backed by my life to do anything they ask me to do. That's the collateral, my life. That's like, wow. Yeah. Humbling.
So I guess what I'm sitting here thinking is like, how deep do we want to go into conspiracy theories versus, which we all know are true, versus like, because like, like I really do love all the stuff that you're doing, and there's so much positive in it too. Like things are shifting and transforming. Um, One of my friends that I want to put you in touch with cracked the code for how practitioners can get paid by the VA, like healers.
Hmm.
So
Awesome.
yeah, um, and that's what, like I've been trying to like really tap into more of like, there's different certifications and practitioners that currently are covered by insurance that I'm finding out now. So if all of us just need to go take a damn test and become a whatever type of healer, which is basically like stuff that we're doing anyway, maybe with a different word and a different certification, maybe we just all go do that. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm really finding out about stuff like right now, And and yeah, I mean, off the record, because like everybody here is amazing. It's like, yeah, they're gonna cover meditation by insurance. So great. Like that's in the pipeline.
Yeah,
So
for stress management, I mean, the science and the numbers don't lie that a lot of the chronic diseases that we have are founded on stress and inflammation. So, there's also ways that we can get certified on things that are not so bogged down in the medication matrix. And I'd rather not get into conspiracy because I think that everyone here in this room right now has been there, done that. Like we've already drank enough of that Kool-Aid. And that is to me, like that is so like root chakra oriented, even though we can get our heads filled. It's like this. Check this out, Trish. I started
yeah,
using color therapy. So it's like we are
right.
so like overwhelmed with the root chakra issue of where do I belong that like let's just take that off let's take that filter off and elevate to a higher chakra operation and
Yeah.
um of course all need to be balanced and in harmony and in symphony. But back to what I was saying about certifications, there are many certifications that can hit the mark, especially since for those that don't know, the DSM-5 is they call it the psychiatrist Bible. It's the coding, it's what matches a diagnosis with coding, which can then be used in the judicial system, in the hospital system, etc. And so, as of October 5th, there's a new V code, um, which is about moral injury. So it's called moral injury, religious and spiritual problem. So now that opens the conversation, right, to our pastors, our clergymen, and to other allied professionals. Um, think of like when the call is made, the 911 call, and the first responder comes in. Well, before that clinician steps into the room, let's say it's a domestic violence call or whatever, police has to step in and they have to clear for safety. Well, if that police team, it's never one person, if that team is grounded in a healthy way, then the outcomes are going to be much better. But if they're in a fight or flight mode, just when they step in, which I don't blame them, it's a very dangerous profession, and there's a lot of unresolved trauma and PTSD in our law enforcements, law enforcers, right? Law enforcement officers. Then that could just set things off the wrong path for when the clinician sits in. In a perfect world, everyone has their basic training, and when the clinician steps in, if the person's talking about hearing voices and themes like angels and demons, then one of the questions to be considered should be, would you like to talk to a pastor or a clergy person about this? Because if they say yes, then we're not talking about handcuffs necessarily. We're talking about, okay, we need to make a phone call. We need to frame this in the proper perspective because it could be what in India we strive for Kundalini rising, which can present as hearing voices and feeling totally ungrounded and in other realms. But in India or in the context of yoga, like a person is actually pursuing elevation and enlightenment, and they're seeking that light at the end of that tunnel. But if it's here in the United States, it could be drug induced or just alcohol and domestic violence. That's not the same frame of mind. That's not the correct set and setting. It's not the same.
That's awesome. So, what are some of the most profound shifts that you've had in your life?
Well, one of the most profound shifts, let's shift up to another chakra. The green chakra. The green chakra is for the heart. Is realizing that another certification, another label, another title, or another accolade is just that. Very likely it's going to feed my ego, my resume, or my website. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's aligning with my heart desires or what my soul signed up for. And so, what do I love? In my opinion, needs to be a question that that I need to bring to my morning conversation before I get out of bed. What would I love to do? What is my body loving to experience? And it 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with what's in my cell phone or my agenda. And so I position my life, talk about strategies and passion, right? I align my head and heart. I position my agenda so that I have free time to just create, go for a run, go for a walk, connect with nature, and at the same time be connected like with the existing nature. It's not me imposing myself and my will, like, oh, I'm gonna dig the yard and plant 20 geraniums. No, like I actually come out slowly because there's rabbits that were up earlier than me, and they're, early bird gets the worm. They're doing their thing. So I'm being mindful Manny, I guess you could say. I'm honoring Mother Earth as it awakens, and I'm just a stranger in a strange place. Just because it's my yard doesn't mean it's mine, you know? It's their world too. Actually, there's actually a rap song that would say, "It's my world and you're just a squirrel trying to get a nut." That's a guy talking to some other dude or ex-girlfriend or something, but you know what I mean.
Viviana wrote, love this. Thank you. Love Manny.
Oh, Viviana, I love you back. Thank you for coming. I love your background too. Purplish, lavender purple, Healerverse. Fit. Oh, yeah, so let's talk about that seventh chakra.
Let's talk about that crown chakra.
Let's take off the lens cover here. And so
How does color therapy work? Yeah.
so I'm not an expert or am I gonna pretend, but I'll give you an example that I really love. And so Trish, when you come to Central Florida,
Yes.
I must. Have you ever been to Medical City, like Lake Nona?
Yes, I have actually, and I'm really excited to come through. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So there's several hospitals. So Lake Nona Medical City is basically like the city of the future. It's all about 5G, smartphones, but also the conglomerate or the harmonious interaction and synergy between academia, the medical sector or medical industry, which then intersects right with research and living spaces that harmonize with nature, and then of course the shops and schools, like just to make everything accessible via golf cart, so to speak. Technically, some EV riding, and so there is a hospital. It's called Nemours Children Hospital, and the Nemours Children Hospital architecture is so. I mean, I'm an ex-landscape architect, right? So
Yeah.
it's harmonizing with the outer environment and it's recognizing that there's this little person, there's a child in that room. There's a person in that environment, call it a 16 by 20 room. But the whole facade, the whole patient side, which faces the highway, it's glass. And that child has the choice to choose one of the seven colors of the chakra to illuminate his or her room. Typically, this is a cancer patient, but it's not exclusively cancer. It's very critical against the clock kind of conditions, right? And so it empowers the child to choose the color that feels appropriate for that moment in time. And so from the outside, you can imagine what this mosaic is with all the Roy G. Biv, right? As we learn in chemistry class, all the colors of the rainbow. And so, yeah, lighting sets the tone, sets the mood. Um,
Yes.
and we've experienced it when we walk into a restaurant or into a lounge or something like that. I mean, yeah, music also helps. It's all about sight, lights, camera, action, right?
Love that. How far do you live from Nemours? I just looked it up.
Um, yeah, it's like 20 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like 60 minutes from the airport. So I don't know if
Mm.
you're flying or driving, but it's
Oh
really
no,
close.
I'm driving. I'm going all the way to Charleston. That's why I was like, oh, Manny's on the way. I'll go stay there for a night and go say hi. Yeah,
You
yeah,
got it. You got it. It would be
yeah,
an honor and a pleasure to
yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
take you to all the New Age, the awakening, seven chakra kind of places.
I love that. And honestly, I just want to see you. You know what I mean? Like you guys are what are so special to me. So that's
Mm.
why. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I've known you for more than a year because I know when I went to India, it
Yeah.
was 2024. It was in
Oh
April,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I'm going
Oh
to
yeah.
India.
Yeah.
And the average,
Somebody found me on social media or something. I don't know. Or maybe I found you. I don't know.
oh, I found Healerverse somehow, and then I just
Cool.
started DMing you, and yeah, and so. Some people call it a midlife crisis, and I made sure nobody would. I made sure it wasn't my midlife crisis, but it was. It was my second Saturn return, right? Actually, my first Saturn return was that Newark episode where I was hospitalized at 28, and my second one was at 56, which
Good. I
was
was hoping that you were going to talk about this today. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that? And then I'm gonna see if anyone has any questions. And then, yeah.
all right. Well, cool.
And if
Well,
you,
I don't know, I don't know that much other than this. It's 7-year cycles. And so by the time you've done 4 7-year cycles, um, it's kind of like you're either in alignment with the universe, your soul's mission is in alignment with the universe, or it's not. And so there's going to be a recalibration and a shift and shake, rattle, and roll to get you there. My first one was very chaotic and overwhelming, but then I became aligned with the cosmic experience. And also the like September 11 and all the stuff like we don't live in such an innocent world as I believed in. Let's put it that way. In my first 28 years. So then the second 28 years, it's like, okay, there's definitely a war on our consciousness, and I'm
Mhm.
either going to be a victim, right? I'm either going to be a victim or I'm going to be victorious. Viviana loves that because she also has two V's in her name. Um, and so I chose victorious. And so I changed my paradigm, I changed my vocation. And so this second time around, the second Saturn return, I was more in alignment. And it was actually more like I need to unplug from this matrix of being a clinician for like 30 years. It wasn't easy. It's taken me like 18 months to deprogram my brain from all this expert talk and all this I know you don't know, like here's your label and now I'm gonna bill insurance with it. It's it's dehumanizing, looking back. I see the value in it, but I I drank too much of that Kool-Aid, so I needed to detox. And that's how I kept in touch with you, Trish. Like, hey, I'm getting better in every way
Yes,
and
you did the whole
every way
time.
and every day I'm getting better and better.
Yes, you did. Yes. You know
Sometimes I
what's
could
so
be
cool too? I
sometimes I could be
seldom
a real nerd,
It's amazing. You know, seldom do I open up my messages on social media, especially if it's somebody that I don't know. You know what I mean? And I don't even go in the inbox too much. So it was really cool that I happened to connect with you, and then I got to experience you in India, and you kept in touch with me the whole time. It was so sweet. Aw, thank you.
I
Thank
felt that.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. I felt that it was an important tether line, just like I kept in touch with family and loved ones and people that right, we talk about like, know, and trust. Um, well, from the conversations that we've had before my trip to India, I knew that I was above and beyond that with you, Trish, because of your mission. Like, you've had this, one thing is to have a vision for long, another thing is to execute it. And I could be like, I was like, oh, wow, this woman is like Amazon, man. She's like a Trojan horse coming into this world. And so I support Trish and Healerverse any way that I can. And in doing so, that this is the beauty. And in doing so, I elevate my aspirations to do this career change because I'm still in the midst of it. I'm still, a psychotherapist. It's just more like an addictions counselor. I've kind of come back to square one. Uh, the the hero's journey, kind of returning to that original point of being a substance addictions counselor and helping people overcome their addictions. It's just so that they can have their basic needs because it's working with homeless men that are learning what recovery is. Because one thing is say no to drugs and be clean. It doesn't mean, right? It's like a whole adaptation of your whole lifestyle. It's just like I'm doing that from a professional, vocational level. These men at the transition house where I work in is are doing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really tricky actually. And it's good that you have some of like the clinical and also like the intuitive aspect and then the spiritual side of things too, because we're all spiritual beings and like addiction is a really tricky thing. When I had my anniversary in November, I went on a tangent, posting on social media, explaining what it is, what it tries to do, how it actually works, what it looks like, different stories because it's misunderstood and people will like look down on somebody that's homeless, but they have no freaking clue that there's no difference between them and their brother or cousin that is an addiction. Maybe they just didn't have like, you know what I mean, people like basically babysitting them or um co-signing their stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the only difference. And yeah, it's I'm really grateful for what you're doing. And what are you doing now? And how can we work with you? And what can we do to support you?
Well, thank you for asking, Trish. One of the great ways that you're helping you and your tech support team is creating the website and connecting it with all the social media, etc. So that's huge for me, so that I don't have to go back to school and spend time and task with that. And I think you guys are already doing it. I mean, Pooja was here like 2 weeks ago in the round table, and I just love the way that I just love the being that she is, just like you, Trish. And John, I've met you like several times in other roundtables, and I love you. Like we connected through LinkedIn. We're supporting one another because we work in the psychotherapy space. And Hillis had to leave, but Hillis is my brother from another mother, and together we're gonna we're gonna be like co-conspirators in bringing in um, shamans from South America, because he knows some, I know some, but together we can build that infrastructure and bring them in. Um, as an only child, hi mom, mom's still here. As an only child, I can tell you that it's a blessing and a curse, right? It's a blessing because you have to solve your own problems. You have to be good at research. But the downside is that you don't have anyone, a brother or sister to get feedback from. So being an entrepreneur in the past has been a solopreneur experience. So one of the things that and Trish, if you're wondering why it's Manny, come on, Manny, you could do this. It's because I'm changing. I'm hardwired to do things alone, and I'm now being like forcing myself to look for cooperative angles. Like, how can we think this through? How can we make this better together? Win-win relationships, as Viviana and I have talked several times. Jugar, ganar, ganar. It's a game. Life is a game, and it's a game of win-win. But if you can bring a third party, let's say a nonprofit, right? So Trish and Healerverse and Manny and Elevate Harmony and this nonprofit win, wow, man, that's like a win-win-win. And then it's a better world. We're bringing in the new earth that way, right? Yeah.
That's amazing. I can't wait to hear what you and Hillis are up to. I feel like some of the best parts of Healerverse, like it's a portal that like magnetizes people's lives and like also like pushes them like beyond measure, like of something that they couldn't have like computed prior. Like it's just like it just does that. But I love when you guys are co-creating and collaborating and going on each other's podcasts, like and building stuff together. That is like my favorite thing to hear. And I can't wait to see what you guys create and what I can do to support you. I do have some ideas like on the side of what I'm going to like basically put in place for you with the 7D that you have, which one of them is like groups that you're able to do on there. So like once you get completely onboarded, I'm going to also like add a template for groups and memberships and stuff in your portal that I'm
Mhm.
really excited about. And I want to hear more about these shamans. But maybe if you want to share a little bit more now, or are you going to
Yeah.
bring them to Florida?
South Carolina, Florida, wherever there's
Amazing.
wherever there's a safe space,
Oh my
right?
gosh. Wait, also,
Miami,
on the
Miami.
record, I have a friend that has like an off-grid, beautiful, and he's to be trusted. I've known him for like 11 years. He has a property that's like in no, North Carolina, I believe, and he said we can all come.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Around what area?
It's like North Carolina, and I know this is really vague, but I just
That's
remembered.
fine. So
Yeah.
so yeah, we could do like a tour.
Yeah, we could
Eh,
just go, all
The
of
sh
us,
the
really.
shaman tour, bro.
I love that. Yeah, yes, yes. You guys can have him have the shamans there. Literally.
And the thing is, we want to make it so that people don't have to necessarily do the ayahuasca or whatever.
Right.
Like it could
Hmm.
be about
Love
the
that.
the dieta, which is diet, but it's not like we think diet in the United States. It's more like eating super clean, no alcohol, no sex for 72 hours prior, and no sugar, no salt, like eating as clean as possible, right? Vegetables, very little fruit because of the fermentation potential, the sugar thing, but also then other things like breath work, just to offer a variety of so that people that are not into the plant medicine and we so that we can have like, mild and hardcore stuff, or whatever we choose to call it. But that way, but it's as close to getting to the water's edge without getting wet, which I think is really important too, because it's experiential and it's a unique opportunity. So yeah. And something else that I'm collaborating, speaking of the veterans, Trish, while you're looking that up, is I'm also going to be working with a dear friend, Mike Schindler. Mike is from the Seattle area, but he's now in Arizona. And he's come out with like this whole movie uh, and training program. It's called VUCA. Anybody in this chat room know what VUCA is?
Mm-mm.
So don't feel bad, guys. Don't feel bad. I asked about 20 veterans. I'm not kidding, in a one-on-one, like 20 veterans who were my clients. Like they knew me, they trusted me, and only one knew. So this is high level warfare, right? Like this is like the art and science of warfare. VUCA is a condition. It's a complex condition. So VUCA stands the V is volatility. My best example is remember like Operation Shock and Awe, right? That was all planned. We're gonna come in and just bomb the hell out of Baghdad. So it's volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. You want to basically hit the enemy so hard, fast, and furious that the enemy has no idea where to go and who to be loyal to. And so they're just going to individually surrender. The heck with my boss, I quit. And so that's considered a negative VUCA condition for the recipient. It's a positive VUCA condition for the executor, right? So it's all about perspective. So VUCA, so I became a certified VUCA coach a couple years ago, and it's how to bring this into the corporate context, which means like during the lockdown was a negative VUCA condition in the workplace. How does the executive team now operationalize their strategic plan? Because we don't have this in the binder. We don't have a pandemic in the binder. So the team has to be like really solid on how to flip the script, is what we call it, flip the script on any negative VUCA condition, recognizing that there's VUCA conditions that we have not even heard of that could be coming. But if the team is has been through basic training, so to speak, then we could trust the leader and we can even question the leader without fear because we're using the proper language and the proper protocol of basically um, living and leading at the speed of trust, which is, I'm borrowing the name of a book, Leading at the Speed of Trust. To the degree that you can trust your leaders is the degree that you could be in your at your desk or in your cockpit and you can execute at Mach 5 versus, man, I can't trust this leader. I don't know. I'm gonna send an email and see what's right and what's wrong here. Yeah.
It's in Marble, North Carolina.
Marble, never heard of it. Is it the mountains?
Yeah. He has a waterfall on the property, guys.
Oh, that's special energy right there. That's magic.
Yeah. He's like, I just sit there every day and I just watch my waterfall. Yeah.
Yeah, in Puerto Rico, our family would do retreats at this place called La Charca, which La Charca is like the on Golden Pond, or no, what was that movie with Brooke Shields' first movie?
I don't
Paradise,
know.
Paradise, whatever. It was like paradise, like it was like this waterfall, and you could just swim there, and it's just rocks all around you. So nobody would see you. You're like really alone in nature. Anyway, yeah, there's something about the unless you're deep in the Amazon, which I did that, deep in the so it's about forest energy or oceanside energy. Um, I'm not saying for the actual ceremony, but just the vibration of the people. I've noticed that Central Florida, because it's centralized, it's like really the energy is more static or less dynamic, whereas Melbourne on the east and Tampa directly on the west, you have like all this, open-mindedness and embracing, whether it's the drumming circles at the beach, plant medicine or not. And obviously South, Miami. Um, but it's more than just density. It's more than just a demographic density. I think it has to do with the natural forces. And because Central Florida doesn't have mountains, I think if it had mountains, it would be different because it had more of that mountain and forest energy. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Earth, air, fire, water.
Amazing. Well, how do we get in touch with you? Obviously on Healerverse, and what other offerings can you offer to everybody today?
Well, thank you for asking. Definitely on Healerverse, sign up and DM me in Healerverse. The website is just coming out of the womb, literally, right, Trish?
Yes.
I have some things to do before I can officially open it, but the website is elevateharmony.com. I mean, if you go right now to elevateharmony.com, you can sign up and subscribe for the newsletter. Or you can just write in the box, I have questions, or uh, let's connect, let's brainstorm, whatever. And yeah, or through Facebook. I'm an old head, so Facebook, I'm doing more Facebook than IG or TikTok. But I'm open to change in 2026. So Manuel Ortiz Cordero. But definitely elevate elevateharmony.com is the best. Or my email is Manny at elevateharmony.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Manny. This was amazing. And I'm so grateful for you. And I'm gonna wrap this up now as far as the recording goes, but I will let everybody kind of come together and chat. And if anyone wants to ask me any questions, you're welcome to do so. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.